Guy, do you buy this one ahead of the split?
I think so. And listen, you don't remember this. A lot of people don't. But Fast Money used to be a segment, 8-minute segment on an existing show. And I only mention that because in June 27th, 06, Pfizer announced they sold their consumer products business for $16.6 billion to J&J. And we talked about it that night. And, Glaxo was bidding for it. And I thought that J&J absolutely stole that. And that was going to be the deal of the century. In a lot of ways, that proved to be correct. I mean, do I buy it? Absolutely. J&J, Mike can speak to this. It's not an expensive stock given a market multiple where it probably should be. And that consumer products business has been a monster. I think they're probably doing this because these companies independently can be a bit more nimble running themselves by themselves as opposed to sort of the J&J umbrella. So absolutely, especially given the fact that this was a $179 stock, I think, in mid-August.
Guy, I thought you were going to say that Fast Money was spun off into its own show, and then the valuation has really flourished since then. Is that what you meant?
I teed you up for that. Dude. We were spun off. I mean, and the spin-off happened. We got our own show, I believe, in September of 06. We did it for a week, and then here we are, almost 15 years later.
And now, part of the CNBC conglomerate.
And now you're back into the market zone as if we've sort of poached you out of the spin-off. Something like that happening here. Anyway,
I'm in the MZ. I love it, man.
So it doesn't really matter. Energy is the worst performing sector today as WTI crude finished the session down nearly 1%, posting its third weekly loss in a row. But oil's pain isn't necessarily a gain for EVs. Tesla extending its losses this week, down more than 3% today after new filings show Elon Musk sold more than $600 million worth of shares yesterday, on top of the nearly $5 billion he sold earlier this week. Lordstown Motors also getting crushed after delaying its all-electric pickup truck again. On the bright side, EV space, newly public company Rivian, which is continuing to climb higher since its IPO on Wednesday, up more than 5% today. Mike, I mean, we picked out a couple of the negatives there, like Tesla. There's an obvious reason why Tesla's been soft, not least its extraordinary run a few weeks earlier.
Yes.
But otherwise, EV's had a great week.
It's extraordinary run, and the fact that the CEO's leaning on the stock every day, apparently. He doesn't want to just do it in one bite. He's actually just a seller in the market. And also, the fact that Rivian's out there, and also Lucid at $70 billion, what you're seeing is the EV trade is getting more names in it, and you can actually spread your bets around different tickers. And I think a lot of people, I was saying, if you go back, 2 or 3 years when Tesla in 2019 was a $70 billion market cap, or $75 billion. It was making 350,000 cars a year. You wish you bought it then. It's now over $1 trillion, and now you can say, fine, I'm going to try it with Rivian, except it's $70 or $100 billion, hasn't made a car sale yet. So you're obviously overpaying and front-loading it because there's a scarcity of ways to exploit this trend.
It really is crazy, Guy. $110 billion market cap, up the third day in a row, and no sales yet. Does it make sense to you? Is this like the next Tesla and people have FOMO, or is it indicative of the environment and a problem?
Yeah, I think Mike hit the nail on the head. I mean, without question, I think there's a scarcity factor, right? And people figure, listen, I missed the boat maybe on Tesla. I'm not going to miss it this time. And I think a lot of people understand that there's probably going to be volatility in its name along the way. I wouldn't be surprised to see this thing trade back down high 80s, low 90s at some point. But that's just the nature of the beast. I think Mike is spot on. I mean, the scarcity factor, and this is a growth area that people don't want to miss. But if you go back in those early Tesla days, that stock was pretty volatile. And by the way, it's volatile here as well. I'll say this again on this show. When I thought that Tesla into earnings would take out that $1,000 level, it happened. I didn't think it was going to trade $1,240. But I also do think we're going to revisit that $900 level that was the prior all-time high back in February. That's not an indictment on Tesla. That's just the way I think these stocks trade.